when you're slaving away in an organization, you don't feel appreciated.
For example, if you're a marketing person, your core role is to make sure that your customer gets the results that it is. And every single person that you appoint in your business has got to make sure that that happens. Even the accounting person who's got nothing to do with marketing of your business has got to make sure that their support role, because they're in a support role, is helping everybody else.
Or you're a leader and you're trying to do the best for your team, but there's just something falling short and you're not sure what to do.
You necessarily slacking. You might not understand this bit of the process because you haven't been trained on it.
Or what processes or systems or approaches that need to be fixed in order to create a space where people are actually looking forward to coming to work. This podcast for you. Okay, cool. Well, we can go anywhere with this.
You go where you want to go, mate.
Yeah, well, the listeners, it's been a little while since they had you on this podcast. You've
Yep.
got your own one as well. So what's been happening in your world? How about that since we last spoke years ago, I think maybe a year ago?
It's about a year ago, yes.
Yeah. What's been going on?
Yeah, so business has definitely slowed up a little bit, which is, I guess, understandable under the current circumstances. One is, the economy is definitely showing signs of stress. But, it's a traditional thing which is very unusual for, I guess, a country, but it happens in New Zealand. When we head towards an election, everybody seems to want to keep their purses closed or their wallets closed and, not go out and spend. It's an irrational thing because business just continues, whoever comes into power. It's not as if any other parties come into play that things are suddenly going to, change overnight. It doesn't happen that way.
How would you, let's say you had your own government and you had the power to influence others. How would you change things? Do you think government can, or is it culture?
Government are controlled. So there's no way that they can change anything right now. However, if New Zealand decide that they want an alternative form of government, and they decide to go for a different format and structure. An example might be so like the Swiss canton system. If we broke New Zealand into that, so each area would have its own government and its own a structure, and then all you'll have is like a federal type government that does international relations. But each one of the areas is self-controlled, and if we each had an area of New Zealand in a similar type situation, you'd find, I think, that the progress in certain areas will be a lot faster than in others, mainly because of the thinking. All right, and you'll find that there are some of the local governments that'll be a lot more pro-business, and the others will be, pro whatever else. But those that are pro-business as such will see significant growth. Don't forget, Ryan, one of the most important things about the growth of any country and / economy is the growth of small business. What this government has done has destroyed every aspect of it. All they've done, and especially during their BS lockdown period, has taken this country from being relatively strong to a really sad situation, and especially the smaller businesses are the ones that are being hit the hardest right now. All the big corporates don't have a major issue because they got funding from government through because they were selling essential services, and the government is essentially run by big business through international formats.
Oh, mate, you're getting into it. Hey, you're getting fired up. I don't know where to take this with you because
yeah, but I mean, it comes down to I guess my main focus is the small business to medium business business side of New Zealand, and they are hurting.
Yeah, what do you see on the front lines? What are you hearing from businesses and what's going on?
So the majority of people have an issue around finding the right staff. So the right staff, which is very interesting. We've got a 3.6% unemployment rate, yet we've got I think it's 8 or 9% of number of people on the working jobs benefit.
Job-seeking benefit?
Job-seeking benefit, that's the one, thank
go.
you. They don't match. So, the people are screaming for talent, but, a lot of the talent is just sitting on the dole.
Mm. So it's an inability for talent. Is there anything else going wrong or being challenging?
Yeah, so the other thing that hit small businesses hard during the last 2 years was the supply chain issue, and that unfortunately is going to continue. The supply chain was hit very hard when the lockdowns happened. So you just imagine you always receive your goods within 2 weeks of ordering that. Now suddenly the shipping companies are delaying everything by a month. So suddenly, instead of having your orders on time every 2 weeks, now it's every month, and you as a small business will suddenly have to order a month's supply rather than 2 weeks' supply. So imagine how that hits a business's cash flow.
Yeah.
So cash is the big challenge. People don't have cash, and the other big thing that I found with a number of businesses is people are choosing to slow down their payments to other businesses. And the ones that are most guilty of that are the big corporates, because they just couldn't give us stuff.
Well, should we go on what do you think leads to, so we're all human in a sense, and I imagine corporates, they're a collection of humans. They may get...
Are they?
Lizard people, what are your thoughts on corporates then? Go on.
No, look, they can be very good citizens of a country, and they can make a big contribution to the overall growth. Mm. But their mindset, well, certainly the ones that I've dealt with through my clients, is of that measure is we pay 90 days, irrespective. But most businesses can't last 90 days without getting some cash up front. Now, I know over the last number of years, some of the corporates have adjusted it slightly, but they all fall back onto the same pattern as quickly as they can, because 90-day payment just makes sense for them, rather, their suppliers, which are generally the smaller businesses, just have to swallow it because they can't go anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's a captured market, unfortunately.
Do you think that, the corporates attract a certain type of person, or corporates change people into certain types of people because they're desensitized to the plight of the small business owner? Because they can't. I've met some nice corporates.
Yes, look, there are individuals within corporates that are really good, and some corporates have the right policies in place. Don't dispute that, but there are several of them out there that.
Don't say you'll get sued. No. Can you sue anything? I don't even know.
Well, I mean, you if you sign if you sign the terms of agreement, I'm not going to name names. But if you sign the terms of agreement with them on that, you've pretty much accepted.
Sold your soul to the devil.
Yeah, correct.
Wow, interesting. So, what do you think is the difference between a good corporate and a bad corporate? What goes wrong? So
the good corporate will look at their supply chain itself, because they need smaller businesses to service some of their things that they need in their business, and those that are really good will have a very good relationship with their suppliers, and understand the small business's challenge of cash flow, and make sure that there's a payment plan in place that suits both parties. Instead of 90 days, it might be 45 days. And a small business can work within that 45-day framework. But something just needs to go wrong with a small to medium-sized business within the 90-day framework of being paid by a big corporate, where the business can suddenly end up
really under.
Yeah, going under.
Isn't that? Yeah, I've sort of talked about on the podcast about I had some knowledge, but now I'm starting to get wisdom. People say cash is king. Yeah. You're like, well, okay, yeah, no shit. But what do you? Why these businesses don't have money? You know what I mean? Where is it going, or they just have such tight margins they can't? Is it? What?
So with the businesses that I've worked with in the past, one of the biggest challenges that I end up helping them solve is their pricing. A lot of smaller businesses and sort of like medium-sized businesses that get into business don't really understand how to price things properly. In their mind, they've got this idea that, people won't pay more than this. And I've proven over and over again, you just put your price up by this margin and, you test the market. I remember one of my clients, I think he had a client list of probably 200 or 300 clients. And I said to him, you put your prices up by 10% from tomorrow. And I said, I bet you'll get maybe one, maybe two people complain about it. And at our follow-up meeting, he came back almost with a smile. He said, you know what? I got one complaint. And it wasn't really a complaint. He said it was just a comment. He said, and the comment was, oh, I see that your prices have gone up.
Yeah, okay.
And that was it.
Wow, crazy, eh?
And I mean, just about every other customer that I've worked with, where I've told them put up your prices, virtually nobody complained.
That's crazy, eh? Is there, I've heard of, I can't remember what the book is, maybe Influence, the Psychology of Persuasion. It's like, if you're cutting in line, it's okay if you give a reason. Is there something with price that you justify, or how do you do it?
Yeah, so I guess one of the big things that people forget, if you're delivering value, people don't mind paying more. If they feel that you're delivering shit, and I'm just saying the word, they will complain. And with the majority of clients that I've worked with, even myself, when I started off in this business coaching I charged a nominal amount that I thought already at the time was expensive. But it wasn't until I increased my price and I tripled the price that I was charging that people suddenly, said, "Oh, okay, if that's your price, then yeah, let's do it." Whereas, in the past, in my mind, I was thinking, "Oh my God, how can I do this?" But once I got the confidence and I said, "Well, actually, I deliver this type of value for people," they suddenly say, I actually got better clients over the period.
Yeah. What has been like, because that's so common, like it's something I'm struggling with, getting your self-worth to the point where you feel deserving of the price, or just saying the price and not feeling deserving and just trying to over-deliver. How did you get through that sort of mind map?
Yeah, so to be honest, what I did was I listened to my coach at the time.
Oh, yeah, he just told you.
And my coach said to me, you stand in front of that mirror the day before you go to your meeting where you're going to deliver your proposal, and you say, Mr. Customer, this is the price. And you just look at your eyes and make sure that you keep contact with your eyes. And it was, the next day when I went in, I still had the trepidation of, I'm going to get rejected here. But I said it with confidence. I said, one of the things that I've learned is that you need to take a customer through a roadmap. Now, if you're selling an item, well, this is probably not quite the item to use, but let's call it a pen.
Yeah.
You can try and sell a pen in a way that sounds really good, that you actually want to buy the pen, but you're still buying a basic item. When you're buying a service of mine, I've got to take you through a roadmap to show you what the process looks like and what the end result can look like. There's no guarantee, because if you hire me as your coach and we go through the process and we actually create the plan for your business to be involved, I'm still not in control of your business. Yeah. You are. Yeah. And if you don't want to do the stuff, is there anything I can do about it other than keep cajoling you as much as possible? But at some point, both of us are going to come to the point and saying, this is not working.
Yeah, it's an important lesson, like self-accountability.
Yep.
Because I was making a mistake. I was putting too much of myself in the outcome instead of presenting what I promised and then the outcome being on them.
Yep.
So what are sort of things like that you see in limiting belief systems inside business owners?
Yeah, so a lot of business owners don't necessarily have a limiting belief. What they have is, because they're coming back to it, they've all got this idea that they've got this wonderful product or service that they can help people with, and they're not too far wrong on it. Where they have their limiting belief is around the pricing, and also about their value to their customer. right? They know, they go out 100% and they go and do everything. I mean, I look at myself, the recent client that I acquired, I went 100% into it. I spent more time in that first month than the actual money I received, just to make sure that that they got value for it. So with my business, it's a longer term, where the real profitability comes in for me. But that first month is like, I need to be able to understand what the big problem is in the business. And I think it's for many other businesses, when they're selling a product or even a service, it's about knowing that your product can solve your customers' problems. And that's where I think the biggest limiting belief is it's about being so convinced in your mind that yes, my product or service can help you, Mr. Customer.
How do you build up that? Let's say, I could imagine if I understand their problem more intimately, and then also I get reassurance from prior successes and stuff like that. How do you build the belief that you solve the problem?
You develop a roadmap.
Okay.
All right. So the roadmap for your business, Ryan, is as follows. This is where we start. This is where the next phase of that project is going. That's the next phase, and this is the final phase. And by the time that you go through this whole process, this is where you should be.
Yeah, keep going. Yeah.
So and because I've done that successfully, over the years, it's just within me. I can deliver it quite easily.
Yeah, because I remember you're kind enough to give a testimony, but one of the feedback that you gave was a clear roadmap. So I'll do one on the weekend then. I'll make a clear roadmap so people know what the fuck's happening. Because that's interesting. It gives you confidence.
Yes, it does. It absolutely does give you confidence, because the more that you develop a roadmap for how you deliver your service, because you're delivering a service rather than a product. A product will be different. How to get that going. You first got to know that this product is going to solve your problem, and if your problem is lack of communication with other people, well, this is the perfect opportunity for you to solve that problem. But if I was trying to sell you even your computer, it won't be as effective as this, because a voice is more effective than an email. If you understand what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, no, I get you. How do you build a roadmap? You know what I mean? Like, what would be a process you go to help those clients in pricing?
So you think of your clients' challenges.
Mm-hmm.
What are their challenges, and how are you going to identify that it's the right challenge? Because every single time that somebody comes to me and says, "Oh, I've got a problem with my staff," all right, it's like, well, hang on, is that your real problem? And the only way that you can solve that is by actually going through an analysis format. So virtually every single one of my roadmaps always starts with analysis. I need to understand the deeper issues. And I can guarantee you 99% of the cases that I've worked with, it's not the employees, it's the communication system that doesn't work. And also the mindset of some business owners. Because a lot of them decide that they want to rather be a micromanager than a manager.
Yeah, you got some story. Do you have any war stories on that? Like managers that needed a mirror?
Well, I remember one, many years ago that I actually fired because of what they did. So as part of the process that I go through, I always do a staff analysis or a staff survey, with the staff. So I ask them a number of questions that the owner and I agree upon that are going to ask. It's roughly 20 questions, and it takes on average half an hour to 3/4 of an hour to get it done. But what it lends for me is the deeper insight, because people obviously say things because they know that I'm independent. So they say things to me, and I've got to put it in a way that doesn't offend the client immediately, but highlights the facts that there are some issues within the business that they may not be aware of. Well, this client of mine, when we got to the final stage of this staff survey, I gave him the anonymous report, man, oh man, the words that were used for the staff that came out of his mouth was just, how can you still even have a business when you're saying these, this about your staff? As it turns out, while I was doing the interviews, a quarter of them, there were 16 in the group, a quarter of them had already said they were ready to leave. When they found out that I had left, they actually all left. So imagine losing a quarter of your staff within a very short period of time.
Wow.
Because they all left more or less at the same time.
It's crazy. I always wonder what leads to that. Like, I sort of see my inadequacies in a leader and things I do well and things I'm improving. And but just to be so cold. Like, I know you get stressed and you lose touch and your degrees of separation and they're fucking up and you want to blame them for your inadequacies as a leader.
Yeah, it happens all the time.
What leads to people being so inhumane in an organization, Tough question.
So, yes, it is a tough question, and I can't answer that offhand because every person is different. So what I've learned is when I've shown business owners where some of their challenges lie, I don't tell them straight out that you're a micro. Well, actually, I have on several occasions. I have said, you're actually a micromanager. You're not really managing your business properly. I said, would you like to know how we sort that out? And it isn't until they realize, oh, hang on, maybe it is my fault. And they recognize that the communication system that they have developed, from a business's infancy to where it is today, hasn't adjusted properly enough to make sure that everybody understands and does things. So one of the areas that I often get involved with in that process is actually having a role description. So what we do is we initially draw up a structure of what the business should look like and try and fill it in with the current staff. And then we talk to the staff and see if we can get them reassigned to various things. But then we make sure that they understand what their role is. Because every single person in a business has a role to fulfill to do one thing. Do you know what that is?
No.
To serve the core role of the business.
Oh, yeah, okay.
All right. Every single role has to serve to make sure that the core role of the business is served. So as an example, if you're a marketing person, your core role is to make sure that your customer gets the results that it is. And every single person that you appoint in your business has got to make sure that happens. Even the accounting person who's got nothing to do with marketing of your business has got to make sure that their support role, because they're in a support role, is helping everybody else.
Yeah, okay.
And these people here around the core role are the key people that are doing what is needed to make sure that it happens.
How do you break up that business? Like, imagine there's repeatable processes to have roles. Is there like a framework for that?
Yeah, so it depends on the business, of course. But yes, it can be broken up. No issues. And as long as you've got a system around that to say, this is where you start, this is where you go next, this is where you do the follow-up part, and this is where you get the final bits. If every one of that is clearly indicated and everybody agrees that that's the way it should be done, you don't need to manage people anymore. You just got to manage the system. And unfortunately, people fall into the natural trap of, Ryan, why are you so slacking? And it's not about you necessarily slacking. You might not understand this bit of the process because you haven't been trained on it.
Do you, like, on the system side of things, because having a clearly defined job description and knowing what's expected of you, and then being supported and encouraged for doing that, or even being accountable to it, that seems helpful. How do you manage empowering people to have the innovation and creativity around what they do?
Yeah, so that comes back to part of the initial part of the development phase. So when I get involved and I've done the staff survey, one of the next steps is to set up a joint meeting with everybody involved, including the business owner, and actually making sure that everybody's aligned with the vision. and then helping create the mission statement around that. But most importantly, also getting the attitudes. What is it called? Can't think of
Myers-Briggs stuff, like personalities?
No. The personality stuff comes later. But it's about aligning yourself with the way that you should be running the business.
Core values?
Values. There we go. Core values. Thank you. Yeah. I lost the value word for a couple of seconds. So yes, it's about the values, right? If everybody's aligned with it, because when you've got them all in a room, and they're all agreeing to where this business is going to go, the following day or even later that afternoon, if they're still around, the change in attitude is just phenomenal. I mean, I've got a client in Christchurch who flew me down for exactly that thing. He says it's just amazing how the attitude of the guys have suddenly changed, and things are starting to work that they agreed on at that meeting.
There's something powerful in that. We used to do that in sales training. So you got a new team. You'd write, what are your expectations of me as a leader? This. And be like, okay, if I delivered that, what is my expectations of you? And they all write it. And as long as I do that first part, they usually do that second part. Okay, exactly. Same concept.
Same type of format. Yep.
How do you, you use that first example of that like stressed guy or girl that was, saying horrible things. And, some people might be conditioned in a way, don't share your true feedback because, you might get fired. How do you create a space that encourages others to share?
Yeah, so very often it's created because of the owner of that business. They don't allow feedback because any negative feedback can be, I'm being slighted here.
You don't love me.
I'm not being respected. And in 90% of the cases, that's not the case. The disrespect happens over a period of time when nothing happens. So, if I come to you and say, Ryan, you're my boss. Ryan, my computer just keeps cracking out. Oh, yeah, I'll get it sorted for you. And you never do. And then you come to me and you say, Tibor, I expected this report from you 2 days ago. What's going on? And I say, but Ryan, I've told you, my computer is crapping out every 2 minutes. I've got to try and work in between here. And I've asked you on numerous occasions, and you kept promising. So, here I am. I'm trying to do my best, but I'm not being allowed to because of whatever the circumstances. So you can think that my, you keep promising you're going to buy me a new computer, but it doesn't happen. And I'm having to struggle through some of the old technology stuff. The report eventually comes out, but it might not be in the time frame that you expected it. And now you're crapping on me, and it's like, you promised me this stuff to get it happen. There's a self-firing process that I've helped develop with
self-firing.
Yeah. So it's you get basically 4 pages, and it's like if somebody's not performing, you call them in and say, hey, look, we need to talk about something's going wrong. And this is what I expect of you. Can we agree that this is what you can deliver? So that's on the first page. So if everybody has agreed that can be delivered, then it's the second page. It's like, what do I have to do as the business owner to ensure that you can do and then me as the worker will say, oh, well, I need this and this and this and that. So, Mr. Worker, if I deliver this for you, you can deliver this within that time frame that we agreed upon. Yep. Okay. If you achieved it, what is it that we're going to agree upon? If I give you a couple of movie tickets just to go and celebrate that you've actually achieved page 1, you happy with that? Most people will take movie tickets or a voucher from a supermarket or something like that as a small gift that they've actually achieved it. And so you leave the last question is like, what happens if all of the stuff that we've agreed upon isn't achieved, and I have given you everything? What do you think needs to happen? Now, 90% of people will say, well, maybe I should look for another job. And that's the self-firing process.
Because people need that, They need that reassurance to let someone go.
Yep. And actually, I've had it implemented. I've only had one client that has come back to me where the guy turned around and said, "Oh, maybe I need more training." It's like, no, you don't need more training. You've been given everything to do this.
It's quite confronting, when you like. People don't tend to like being called out, but then they've agreed to it, and it's just data. So you're not saying, you piece of shit, you haven't done it. You're just saying, well, this is what we agreed, you didn't do it. Yeah. And last time you said you'd quit, so what are you going to do?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Yeah, and I guess the whole balance, the only reason that might not work is if a leader, you're not pulling your weight.
Correct. If you're not enabling that person to actually achieve what they should be achieving, then it still rests with you as the leader of the organization or of that group.
So it almost becomes just as important to measure what they've done and what you've done. So Absolutely. Then it's not about the person.
No.
Okay, I get you. So how do you measure your leadership in a way? You know what I mean? Like, so is it like?
Well, you agree upon things. So if during the agreement is, I'm going to need a new cell phone and I need a new computer and I need some training in this specific area, and you as the leader don't do any of that, well, then obviously your leadership sucks.
Self-fire the leader.
Yeah, self-fire the leader. Absolutely right. And I mean, I've identified some leaders within, or managers within businesses who never understood the concept. They've always said, you do it, and it's like, oh, hang on, it doesn't work that way.
Yeah, fuck it. There's no way to hide, eh? That's what I love and hate about it. I love that I'm the only one responsible in a sense, like they're responsible for the actions and agreement they made. That's on them. But like, I can't blame anyone because it's just me and, the one employee.
Yep. So, but I mean, I've worked with clients over the years where, usually we meet up fortnightly. And over the fortnight, you as the client have got to go away and you've got to do some basic stuff on your business. And it's like, on the odd occasion, they come back and they say, oh, I haven't done anything. That's okay, people get busy. And I said, but can you please tell me what actually prevented you from doing it? And it's using the word prevented that triggers a lot more than just creating an excuse.
Why didn't you do it?
Yeah,
what
exactly.
Prevented you?
So rather than saying, why didn't you do it? It's like, what prevented you from doing it? Because then they have to really think about it. And it's about, actually, I just didn't want to do it. And then you've got to go back deeper and you've got to ask the deeper questions. So tell me, what is the issue around your agreement that you were going to do this over the last 2 weeks? And then I've had some of them come back and say, well, I'm not about 100% sure that, we are going down the right route in this. I said, fantastic, let's talk about it. Tell me where your thoughts are. And then you get sort of like delving into, maybe altering what they should have done, or it's about not convincing, sorry, I don't convince anybody. It's about getting them to consider whether their thinking around that is still correct.
Yeah, you're very conscious of language.
Yes, you have to be.
Yeah, and I think that would be quite a useful platform for leaders, like a structure, but they still might struggle in terms of digging deeper. Do you have I know there's ask why?
Yeah.
Is that sort of it?
So that would be one way, but it's more understanding their thinking. Because don't forget, we all grew up in different environments throughout our life, and some of them resonate from young childhood, and you've got to get them to talk about it so that you can actually either address it or just accept that it's part of them and the way it is. So you've got to find a different route, how to still get the end result.
So yeah, the goal isn't to find out why they didn't do it; it's to understand why they think the way that they do. Correct. That led to them not doing it.
Yes.
Which makes it less personal about, hey,
absolutely
you piece of
right.
shit. Absolutely
right.
Interesting. I'm just checking that sometimes this camera goes for 30 and then I go push a button again. What about, what leads to a person wanting to be able to do this? Because you seem quite even, you meditate, you're into your sports and stuff. And I imagine you'd be pretty good under pressure. Well, you have been, really.
Well, I have been.
I've seen it. Yeah. So what has led to you caring so much or wanting this as a life,
Good question. I think it's come from, I guess, from being a young man already. When I was in my sporting years, I stepped into a coaching role almost immediately. So I was a reasonably good player, but I felt that I could add a lot more to my sport by coaching as well. And it developed during those years. I mean, when I was still back in South Africa, I won 13 years in a row as a junior coach. So in other words, my province went to the national sporting, championships, provincial championships. And for 13 years in a row, I was the leading coach that got the team winning. I think the total number that I got out of that was probably around about 20, but I had 13 in a row. And it is only because deep inside me, I've always felt wanting to help other people. And that just went straight into when I started my career as an accountant initially. It wasn't always just to do the numbers and to do the taxes. When I was sitting in front of my clients, when I eventually got to that level where the partners at the time thought that I was good enough to talk to customers, I always wanted to understand more about them. What made them tick?
The eggs are ready.
Yeah. This is my boss calling.
Oh yeah, okay. Jeez, I don't get in trouble.
And I'm going to be in trouble anyway because I turned it down.
Oh yeah, it's on you, not me. Don't listen to me about relationship advice. Jesus.
Anyway, but So I guess it was just something that's inside me. Even when I was an accountant, I was doing more than the average accountant. And when I came to this country, I was promoted. I was asked to join the partnership of the accounting company that I served my articles under, and within 1 year they made me the general manager, and it took almost 8 years before I moved to New Zealand from becoming the manager. But I grew the business from 9 people to 20 people by the time that I'd left, and it was because of different things that I was thinking about on how to deliver stuff for our clients. And the natural thing was, because our clients were very happy with the service that was changing, they were talking to their mates, and we got them on board as clients as well, to the chagrin of the other accounting firms around. But anyway, it was good for me. And when I landed here, I landed up with a couple of older type accountants initially, who were just the old basic number tax type guys. Didn't last with them too long, and then I ended up in another chartered accountancy company where the owner of that business saw the opportunity through me and let me loose on a number of his clients. And they loved the change in the format, because I was a lot more consultative. And he unfortunately passed away, and so that gave me the opportunity to start my own business. Yeah. And I morphed from accounting work into business consulting and business advisory services, as well as business coaching over all of those years from 2002 onwards.
Yeah, you stuck it out. There's a lot of shit that happened in between 2002 and now, brother. That's a long ass time. Wow. Yeah. You highlighted something there about caring about others and helping. I find often the heroes are the ones that people need to, look out for too. How do you navigate self-love and care for others?
Can you define just explain what you're really asking?
I'm basically asking, you invest so much of your time in caring and helping others, and sometimes because you're always putting their needs before yours, then people burn out and they get overwhelmed. So how do you balance between caring for yourself and caring for others?
Thank you for clarifying. Yeah.
That's right.
So I play sport. So that's one avenue. Underwater hockey is a very interesting game. And if you think about the puck and the stick, you just take it out on the puck. If you've got any stresses on the day, you just nail the puck. I don't play that often anymore, so I either go for walks or I've come to like a certain game which just takes everything away from me, and occasionally just sit in front of the television on the Xbox and playing that.
Oh yeah, like a video game.
Yeah, video game.
What are you into? You're not meant to video gamers like yourself, but You could be an EA Sports guy or whatever, making millions a year.
No. I don't. I don't spend the time on all of that. But no, I play a game called Diablo.
Diablo. What's interesting about Diablo to you? I mean, this is a business.
So I guess it's partly, the theory you killing demons.
Killing demons.
Yes. So and that's.
Do you project anyone onto it? Politicians?
Yeah, mainly politicians.
Yeah, I'm just playing against them.
Yeah.
Well, how did, we'll move off this topic, but people are interested in you more than they are in business, I find. I'm obsessive with learning, but I only learn 1% of the time, 99% I'm getting entertained.
Yeah.
So when did you pick up video game? Was there ever one when you were younger?
Diablo has, I guess, been part of my life for the last, when it even started. I think the first Diablo was the one that I played all those years ago, which is probably 20 odd years ago now.
Jesus.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't play it.
No, you've got a problem. We need to talk about it. You're playing too much. Get outside.
I get outside enough. Don't get me wrong. No, this is played mainly at night.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So like it from maybe 7 o'clock or 8 o'clock until maybe 10 o'clock at night. And
fuck, 2 hours a day?
Yeah, no, not every day. Not every day.
Okay.
Well, let me rephrase it. It probably has been over the last 2 weeks because they've brought out Diablo 4. So it's just understanding that game, but it'll fall back to the normal pattern again.
If in an alternative universe you're able to earn $2 million a year playing Diablo full time, would you do it as your career?
I don't know. I think I might get bored.
Yeah, interesting. Yeah.
No, it's to me, it's just a distraction, just to break away. And like I said, in the old days, it was playing a puck and hitting it as hard as you can, and getting rid of the frustrations that way. This time, it's killing demons.
Do you think, and just continue on a little bit more, is how people say, it's ruining our children and they're just becoming more aggressive and they're using guns and you should ban video games. What do you say?
Yes and no. So, what's it? At home we have that problem right now. My son likes to be online and play games and whatever else rather than doing anything else. But he is. How can I put it? We have spoken to him and we've given him the opportunity. So he's now playing basketball as an alternative sport.
Oh yeah.
But his natural default will be to go straight to a video game if he gets the opportunity, and that's the eternal issue at home at the moment. I never had that because we never grew up with that. I was on the sports field every afternoon or in the neighborhood destroying light bulbs.
Destroying light bulbs?
Oh, when I was a young kid, man.
Yeah, you were a rebel, were you?
Oh, no, it was just naughty.
Naughty, jeez. What are you doing to the light bulb? It's like...
Oh, no, with the...
BB gun.
No, it was actually water guns. So if you don't know, I'm that old, that the street lights just had neon lights in them. And all you just do is you just spray up with... a water pistol and they just blow.
Look at you go back to that place. What a beautiful moment to be alive. That's what kids need more of, blowing up light bulbs.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you think? I
don't know. There was something else. These big water pipes that they got under the ground, for carrying off the rain waters as such.
Oh yeah.
I was skinny enough to used to climb down into them, and what we do is we take newspapers, light them up in those tunnels, and then climb out again, and then just sit back and watch, and you just see smoke coming out of all of these grates and grills and everything, all down the road. It was always fun.
Wow. Could water have rushed in there, or no? I guess is it just drainage?
No, it's just
like
drainage.
Flash flood and then kids.
No,
did.
I mean, if you knew it was going to rain, you don't get in there.
Oh, bro. At least you can hold your breath for a while.
And being in South Africa, it was mostly dry. That is just in the late summer afternoons, you wouldn't get in there because that's when it rained.
Would it be like, James Bond, where they got snakes just all piled up inside and you don't want to...
No, not really, no. I've never come across them there.
Okay, random. We learn a lot about you.
Yeah, I was a bit of a rebel when I was younger.
Yeah, you can always tell in the eyes, eh? Well, we've done, believe it or not, 45 minutes of the podcast.
Wow.
It's happened again.
Yeah.
So I think there's something interesting in the fatherhood component. I don't think, you might have a unique way of approaching things, but you also have a consultative way in business. How do you navigate a child needing to build the characteristics, so suffer in some way to build the character that can be resilient, patient, have integrity, and caring for them?
Yeah, so I've got a slightly different way to my wife, and
yeah.
Hopefully she'll never see this podcast.
Yeah, nor to call and talk shit about her. Yeah, good stuff.
So my wife likes to go the direct route and shouting and screaming and whatever. I would rather sit with them and just talk to them and find out the key issues that they are struggling with, and the question would obviously be, so why are you reverting to this? And generally the answer is, but I've done everything that Mum asked me to do. So so naturally it is to go to their default position, which would be the games or whatever it is. I said, well, the perception is, he's still getting reasonably good grades at school, so I'm not overly worried about his academic progress. So I just said to him, it's the perception issue. How can we solve that? And so he said, well, maybe I need a bit more game time with basketball. So we sat down, and he's now playing 3 nights or 4 nights a week, rather than just the one that he used to play. So even Mum is now starting to accept that he's not as focused on that all the time as he was. During school holidays, it's always a little bit more challenging, and but her ethos is, if you're not working, you're not doing anything.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like, at the moment, it's a career.
Yeah,
it's hard to be talented, but it's kind of like the NBA in a different version. It's virtual, so it's not a complete waste of time. But you don't learn the social skills. You're getting dopamine. You're getting an artificial view of the world. What do you actually think? What do you think we'll evolve into? Like, people talked about you're wearing these streamers and they're hunched over like this, and they're always looking at their phone, and they're pasty white, and they got a big belly. Do you think there's going to be a long-term consequence of?
Oh, without a doubt. I mean, the mere fact that you're holding your phone and you're looking down at it so often, a lot of people are starting to pick up problems with their necks and other issues. Associated with that, it goes down to your shoulders, it goes down to your lower back, and a whole lot of areas. So yes, there will be long-term issues. I mean, I keep reminding my kids, when you're looking at your phone, hold it a little bit higher rather than down here, because you got to keep your posture. And my son is very good at that. My daughter not as good. Yeah, no, I'm awful at it. I look at the horrific change in my body over the last 10 years where I'm just going like this, fucking hunched over. It's horrific. Yeah. Well, I've learning in podcasts to abruptly end it to improve retention. So thanks for coming on. No, my pleasure. I mean, it's always interesting having chats with you because you ask very, very good questions, and happy to answer as much as I can.
Cool. Thanks, mate. Done.